Hello everyone and welcome back to another Brickmania review. Today we are taking a look at Brickmania's very first Flakpanzer 1. Designed by Tiger131, this is yet another one of his rather unique but very nicely done models he made for Brickmania. Built with 461 bricks, the Flakpanzer is quite a small thing and probably one of the cutest tanks, or more accurate, self-propelled anti-air guns Brickmania has ever done. However, for its small size, the Flakpanzer has quite a big price. For $260 you can definitely get some very much bigger vehicles from Brickmania, which is something to keep in mind. However, it does have 19 printed parts and 2 minifigures, which explains the price a bit. Since the Flakpanzer 1 is simply a Flak 38 mounted on a Panzer 1 chassis, this is the first time since 2017 that Brickmania has done a Panzer 1 chassis, so obviously this one is a big upgrade. The frontal hull is nicely angled and very sturdy. There's a small headlight and 2 hooks for towing cables. The side skirts are, as with most Tiger131 designs, only 1 tile thick, which in my opinion looks much better and more accurate than the 2 tile thick ones. The frontal side skirts are actually quite a lot more sturdy than they look. Although they can wobble around quite a bit when you touch them, they won't fall off in my experience. Moving further up, there's also this slightly elevated armor plate on the hull and the frontal armor plate for the driver, which has one nicely printed viewport. The slightly angled armor on the sides was built using these 1x3 wedge pieces, which look very nice, especially with them each also having another printed viewport. However, both the frontal armor and angled armor plates are quite fragile. The frontal armor plates are understandably not connected to a lot of studs, meaning a simple push will easily knock them off. The angled armor requires much less force to fall off. The wedge piece is connected by just one stud and is often pushed by the flak shield when turning the flak. It can also fall off this way, which happens often. Let's take a look at the Flak Platform. There are 3 foldable platforms around the turret, 2 of them on the sides, which are both printed. As you can see, a neat white Balkenkreuz, 2 bolts on each side along with the red number 2 are visible on the outside of these flaps. It's really difficult to find out what this number 2 exactly means, however a good guess can be made. All 24 produced Flakpanzers were assigned to the same unit, Flakabteilung 614, which had 2 battalions. This means that the number 2 most likely stands for in which battalion this Flakpanzer is, meaning the 2nd battalion of Flakabteilung 614. Flakabteilung 614, by the way, was only used on the Eastern Front and was destroyed in Stalingrad. It's important to note, however, that this is all not confirmed and simply a guess. Credits for this research go to Rukisa, who was kind enough to go down that rabbit hole. The 3rd platform is on the back and when folded up acts as the backrest for the bench placed right on the edge of the hull. You can sit down minifigures on this bench, however without any studs they will fall off very easily. To extend the platform, simply tilt them by 90 degrees. The function of these platforms was to increase the space for crew members in the event that the gun had to be used and rotated. When driving and resting, the platforms were folded up. The flak build turned out really nice in my opinion. I imagine it is very difficult to design such a small and detailed gun while keeping it relatively sturdy and adding the features of it being able to turn, elevate and depress. I think Tiger captured the look and shape of the front quite well. The shield looks really cool and is actually not all too complicated and fragile. The gun barrel was built using one of these bars, which is fine in my opinion, however that does mean that there is no hole at the end of it. You can bend the shield forward to get a better look at its design. From this position you can also easily remove the shield by pulling on it. Then remove the barrel and the shield connected to it, and put the barrel in the lightsaber handle piece to fully remove the shield on your Flak 38. I think this looks really cool and it gives us a better view at the design of the Flak 38 gun. I really like the usage of these rings and they are actually quite sturdy. The whole gun in fact isn't all too fragile. You maybe have to push some pieces together now and then, but I never had any big problems with it. The left side is relatively empty. There are two 1x1 tiles with printed magazines. The one in the front is loaded into the gun and therefore moves with its elevation, which is a nice detail. I have to say I would have preferred them to be in dark bluish grey, as the black color just stands out a lot from all the grey. Of course that would make the magazines less visible, however I think it would have worked anyway. The right side is fully packed. There's a shield for the gunner, which can occasionally fall off, the gun sight for him, and a seat. Putting the gunner minifig into the seat is quite a challenge. I recommend taking apart all these parts and the seating connection to separately put the gunner in his seat and then reattach it. Once that is done, you will realize that there is a problem. The shoulder of the minifig is pushing the brick holding the gun sight, bending it severely. This issue is never really solved. You can push the seat away some more, but after already just a bit it will cause problems when trying to rotate the turret. Instead of this round 1x1 piece with a bar, I think a flex tube should have been used for the arm to reduce the size of the connection. That way maybe the problem would be resolved. The shield already makes problems when rotating the gun. Even if you painfully adjust it perfectly, it will still sometimes get stuck on the angled armor wedge piece we talked about earlier. In my experience, the turret will rarely rotate absolutely clean without hitting anything. It will slightly hit something 9 out of 10 times when turning. However, if you adjust everything as well as you can, a 360-degree rotation is definitely possible. Moving further back, we have an exhaust on each side, which adds some nice detail. Then on the back we have these two side skirt 1x2 tiles, which are probably the most annoying pieces on this kit. These just fall off so easily with any kind of small touch and are very annoying to reapply. Once they are in place, they do look nice however. The hook is really nice. It's locked, meaning both arm and hole couplings can be attached easily without having to worry about them falling off. It also sits at a nice height, which should fit most trailers. Historically, the Flakpanzer one often towed an ammunition trailer. This ammunition trailer happens to be the same one that was in Brickmania's SD KFZ10 with Flak 30 kit. Together these two look really nice. The trailer can be easily attached and is very maneuverable and sturdy behind the Flakpanzer, and there are no complaints at all, and it's very cool that these two are compatible with each other. Now to probably the worst part of this kit, the tracks and wheels. All 12 wheels have very nice printing, with the two sprocket wheels having a different artwork than the road wheels. The idler wheels and the track tensioning rods are built very simply and look totally fine. I think all of this looks great, however it does not really work great at all. For starters, the track links are very loose. Loose to the point where you can take them off completely without having to stretch them at all. Also, when lifting up the model and setting it down again, the tracks love to slide under the hull behind the tracks, or next to the tracks on the outside, or the tracks land very well, but this specific road wheel likes to slide inwards, or this one likes to break off because it's fragile. You can shorten the tracks by one track link, which in my opinion looks much better, but it's also really tight, putting a lot of stress on the already fragile wheels. Despite all these issues, the tracks do roll fairly well, even better when the tracks have been shortened. However, with both configurations it does sometimes happen that the wheels break off or the track links fall off. There is not much to say about the minifigures except that I think they look very good, and I especially like the gunner's goggles. All in all, this cute little thing is in my opinion a really great kit. Tiger did a good job at portraying such a tiny vehicle in Lego form. I know I really shit on the tracks just now, but they aren't terrible. It's just annoying that you have to fiddle around with them each time you move your Flakpanzer around. Especially together with the ammo trailer, this is a really good model. Thank you for watching and have a great day.